Okay, I got one last thing I want to try because I was looking through the more detailed step-by-step everything. And this is the subsonic in this case. I noticed this SCSI controller. There happens to be a bus sharing item in here that shows as none, which was the same as the NAS server and everything else, but when I look at the description, it shows this. When it's selected to none, virtual disks cannot be shared between virtual machines. Physical virtual disks can be shared between virtual machines on any server, and virtual disks can be shared between virtual machines on the same server. So if that is the case, maybe all I gotta do is change that. Here's the SCSI controller, because that's what these drives are all using, as you can see when I bring one of these down. SCSI controller. So I wanted to try that out, but I can't change this without powering down the NAS, which is probably okay. I have to fire this guy down though. And we'll fire that guy down too. And the rest is probably fine. Shut down the NAS server for a moment. I'm not doing anything that's transferring to and from, so that's okay, I think. Alright, now it's good. It's down. Let's give this guy a shot. SCSI controller. We will try the virtual, because it sounds like you could even potentially share between like two of these separate servers, which would be interesting. That would actually be a lot more crazy things to break. I'm good at breaking shit, apparently. So let's see what it does if I just turn that on. Completed, no issues. Okay. And right now I'm using all the same normal hard drives, so it's also got the industrial server there. Let us just make a new one. Just to be sure, maybe it needs to apply these settings or some shit like that. Who knows? Add new hard disk. We'll just make it another test 5 gig. What's weird to me is you can't change the name of it here anywhere. It doesn't let you. The Flash version does. Flash version doesn't let you do most of a lot of stuff, but it can make the name, which is just, it's so bizarre how they have some significant amount of fragmentation in the features. Everything's got a little bit of different feature sets, and nothing seems to have everything. This has the most complete, but even this is missing stuff. Let's just make it a 1 gig, because it doesn't make a difference. At the moment, we're just seeing if it fucking shit. Alright, so that didn't work. Then what the fuck does that feature actually do? Might be my next question. I guess the first question is, what if I do physical? Because I'm thinking, I got another idea. Okay, that doesn't change anything. I've got an idea, gentlemen. And I don't think it'll work, because hell knows, but I'll set this to virtual. I'm going to take the currently bitching 1 gig guy as soon as I figure out where the hell. I don't know why they don't make it one list. Even their Flash thing has it. Unspecify that. Close. Hit OK. It should be okay now. Boot this guy up. Now, can I simply load it into this guy? That same 1 gig. maybe that would be a different approach to it. Maybe the drive itself isn't supposed to be, and it was a loophole fluke situation in the first place. So, if that's the case, we will find out. Sort of. Anyways. Edit. From the past. Am I losing my mind? Don't answer that. The answer's already obvious. We know what the answer to that is. What if I just loaded, say, multi-writing? Okay, didn't like that. Is the NAS running? Can it open virtual disk? Oh, yeah, thanks for the clean error message that I can read. Okay, we broke it. So what the hell am I doing now? Necrosis breaks his entire everything live on the internet. Okay, let's go ahead and remove this guy for now. Can't open the virtual disk. NAS server.vmdk. Verify was created using the thick option. Why? Can't be opened in multi-writer mode. Wait a minute. I think we're starting to get somewhere. One of the snapshot disks that depend. Oh, for fuck's sake, just show me the goddamn error. And open clustering verify virtual disk. It's using the thick option, and I know that there was the base one is not using thick. So hard disk 1 is thin provisioned. And I do not see a way to change that. Hard disk number 2 is thick provisioned. And so should hard disk number 3. So perhaps it might be a case of, had this first disk been thick provisioned, it would be shareable, but something about that don't sit right with me. Can I add an extra SCSI controller? Now let's say this one is virtual. And come back up here and say this one is back to being none. Hit OK, so it does its thing. Seems like it's not an issue. So now we should have this 1, 0, and a 1. If I keep the OS on there, and if I keep the rest on number 1, perhaps I will be able to get some more better results going on here. So right now we're just going to test that this thing even boots up. They're still on the first original one that's been put back to none. Will it boot? Looks like yes. Okay, so it actually works as expected. Should not exist. I'm just going to verify that it boots up all the way and then shut it back down. And then, actually, I may not even have to do that now that I think about it. My settings, we still have that same 1 gig file in there somewhere. Yes, it's on controller 0. So add an existing hard disk. Go into the NAS folder. And this is half the problem is just how slow ESXi's interfacing tools and stuff are. Really annoying. Too bad it doesn't use the vSphere client. That would have been pretty sweet because that thing has a lot more features. But I can't even edit settings anymore with it. It just, they're like, use the vSphere web client. It's slower and dildos, but yeah, use it because we're not going to let you now. You can still do a few other things, but this is deprecated and too bad. No, you're going to need 10 gigs of RAM for the virtual machine that runs the server appliance. Now, I'm going to change. I don't know what I should change yet. I know I can put it there, but should I try specifying? Let's just try specifying multi-writer right now. See what happens. It should give me an error. Okay, there's the error. Unspecify it. Failed to add. Can't open the virtual disk. Verify the virtual disk was created using the thick option. Cannot be opened in multi-writer mode. Can't open the disk or one of the snapshot disks. It depends on. What snapshot? Should be any. Unless they need to be set to close. Oh, that's where I could see an error message without having to If that's the case, wouldn't persistent fix that? Of course not. That's just silly. Verify the virtual disk was created using the thick option. Thick provisioned. Failed. It says thin TBZ and sparse disks cannot be opened in multi-writer mode. Is it possible I have to choose a different thick provisioning option? Let's find out. We'll just make a new hard disk. This one will also be 1 gig. God damn, the mouse wheel thing just doesn't, like, it just increases the size. Data provisioning, thick provisioned with lazy zeros. How about thick provisioned with eager zeros? Put you here. It's doing something. Did it just work? Is it possible I had to provision with the non-lazy zeros? Is that potentially what the problem was regardless? Could it have been? What the fuck are lazy zeros? Yeah, it's in there, alright. Okay, let's put you online. Initialize. New text document. ASDF. Alright, and let's say I go into Subsonic and tell you still has a device in here that's, get rid of that. Existing hard disk. And it's this third one now, right over here. Let's see what happens if I just add it. Yeah, let's just leave it as is, unspecified. See what that does. Failed to add. Failed to lock the file. Okay, so that's not good. Multi-writer. It worked! I think it worked! Oh my god! Oh my god, I think it worked, guys! Did it work? This is the Subsonic server now. So here in the NAS server, we created in that just a file called ASDF. There it is. ASDF. New. What the hell? There's no options to. F5. Interesting. So here, we made a change to it, but it doesn't apply here. Now the question is why? Did I accidentally set it to the wrong persistent or impersistent state, perhaps? Yeah, see, I had it set to dependent, damn it. That means bad things in this case, I think. Okay, so I just removed it so it'll no longer be here, as if you pulled out the drive. And here it's still exactly the same. Just to be sure. SDF2. Administration. Edit. Let's edit this again. Existing hard disk. I wish this process was less aggravatingly slow. But at the same time, once you've figured out how to do something, especially if you have like a little documented log or video or something like what I'm doing, I could reproduce the steps in the future should I need to implement it again and break it or can't figure it out or whatever. That's half the reason these videos would be useful to me, or as a old reference source. Like, how the hell did I get that thing working? Let me go fire my YouTube up. Okay, so here is the same drive in question. Our 1 gig. Sharing. Multi-writer. Disk mode. It should go in persistent. Now, what's going on here? Okay. New. It's doing that weird thing again. Let's make a new folder. Oops. No, nothings. Yeah, the changes are not persistent. Yeah, so it only maintains the changes at the time it loaded it, from the looks of it. The chances are, if there was a change and I rebooted the computer, it would take on the new changes only then. I'm going to keep it in the video too. It's going to be like 10 hours long and you're going to have to sit through all of it. Like, I hate this guy sucks. Why are your videos so long? I don't know. Why is my life so fucking long? There's the guy that makes that My Playhouse thing. He has like a home lab data center. And like he had this huge headache of a problem. And it turns out it's because at some point in the past he had used a capital A in the word administrator. And it prevented him from actually being able to install some huge upgrade thing he was trying. It just didn't let him. It wasn't possible, and it required a lowercase a. That should be okay, because the purpose of this volume multi-writing thing I was trying to do in the first place is a folder that was going to not so much copy and transfer between each thing in real time. It just rarely gets updated. Anyways, it would contain my music and then it would be loaded into Subsonic because Subsonic couldn't do it over the network. So what about if I made this Subsonic server load this in a non-persistent way? Give it no power to make changes whatsoever, but it can access it. Then, if I ever add music into the drive, I can simply reboot Subsonic once, and that would be that. It would see the new folders and music and everything. I think that'll be the solution I have to deal with for now. My other option is to say forget the multi-writing system and put a share, like create the 250 gig folder on here, or not folder, create the 250 gig drive with the music onto Subsonic, and then load that in here and simply share that. But then the music would be in a separate directory and independent. I don't like that solution so much either. I would have preferred everything to get shared through the NAS. So it's a little bit of a tough call on my part, how I want to approach this. I have a few different potential options. Any of them will work. And there might just be a quirk with the multi-writer thing. How I'm going to approach this, there's only one condition that is I can't fuck with, and that is that Subsonic will not take a share directory as its media source. That's the whole reason I was having this issue in the first place. If multi-writer made changes completely in real time between without having to remove and reinsert, that would be the easiest solution at this point, I think, because it would at least allow me to keep everything on one single NAS server. Everything is managed here. Everything is under control. I don't have to worry about anything. I would feel most comfortable that way, and it would make it easier when I'm making backups of like Subsonic and stuff, because if I make a copy right now, it will copy any drive with it and all that mess, and it gets really messy really fast because it takes a long time. So I guess we figured out at least part of the mystery. If you're going to use multi-writer, make sure you use thick provisioning with whatever the fuck it was called. Non-lazy zeros. What did they call it? Eager zeros. That seemed to be the variable as far as why I was getting those problems.